everybody, welcome into the FedEx Preview Show. I'm Alex Weaver here with Marty Snider from NBC Sports. Marty, a crazy finish. We're still talking about it. Battle of the brothers.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see. You know, the race itself kind of built up to that moment. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch battling it out for the win. You know, I love it when Kelly Stavis on our air on NBC Sports asked the 18 team, how's this restart going to be? And he says, I'm not really worried about the 22. I'm worried about the one behind us. So Adam Stevens had it nailed right from the start that was what he had to worry about. And yeah, the one car had a little fresher tires and I think extra motivation. I think after what happened to them at Daytona, they kind of were beating themselves up on the call they made on pit road, not getting the win in Daytona. They come back, they run well all day long. And they were top 5, top 10 all day long, and then in the right position at the end. And I think what's not talked enough about on that final restart is he had Kyle Larson right behind him, and Kyle Larson pushed him all the way through the middle of 1 and 2, gave Kurt Busch the huge run, and then Joey Logano went low to really try and block the 18 and try and side draft the 18. Kurt Busch went high. Fantastic finish, and I love the way it ended. So much fun to see the brothers battling it out. And Kurt's right. Kyle gave him just enough room to allow him to be able to pass for the win. Not too much room, but just enough to be able to make it work, and what a finish.
We've had the Busch brothers go 1 and 2 3 times. Yeah. This is the first one that Kurt is claiming.
Right,
so.
and he knows that, believe me.
Yeah.
All the other times I was second in these.
Do you think that this is kind of the turning point in the momentum that one camp needed?
Well, I think for Chip Ganassi Racing as a whole, it's certainly a good turning point for that race team. I'm not sure if they're a championship contender or not. I think they could be, but I think they've got to get a lot better. They need Kyle Larson to get better and help the one team. Right now, Kyle Larson's been struggling with consistency. They did have the great second place finish at Chicago, but is putting it together every week, not only for Kyle Larson, but the entire Chip Ganassi organization. No doubt Kurt Busch has made that organization better, and they have lifted everything, but they've got to get a little bit better to compete with Stuart Haas, who's even faster than them, and then certainly with Penske and with Joe Gibbs Racing. So I don't know that this really puts them on a plane with those teams, but it certainly gives them momentum. And you have to look at Daytona. I mean, they were in a position to be able to win that race, just the wrong strategy call. So yeah, I think it certainly makes them a lot better heading into the playoffs.
Well, speaking of playoffs, Marty and I know that it's looming. I think drivers are starting to feel that pressure. Yeah. So do we think that teams now, we're well through the halfway point of the season,
right?
Do the strategies change, and do they start getting more aggressive on pit road, on the track, and team meetings?
Well, with a handful of races left before the playoffs start, I think there's only so much you can do in terms of strategy. But we saw a few of those plays. We saw Mike Bugger-Ravitch with Clint Boyer making some strategy plays at Kentucky. I think this weekend at New Hampshire, it's going to be all about strategy. There's not a lot of stops in this race, a very short race at New Hampshire this weekend, but you're going to see teams playing strategy all over the map because passing is going to be so difficult. So yeah, I think you're going to see these strategy plays to the best of their ability, but there's only so many things you can do to go outside the box to be able to put yourself in a position to win a race.
All right, well, New Hampshire Motor Speedway is where we're racing this weekend. Yeah. You said it earlier. Who can we expect to find victory lane in New Hampshire?
Well, I think there's a number of teams. I think if you look at who's won at New Hampshire lately, obviously Kevin Harvick's been fantastic. The Joe Gibbs Racing Group has been terrific. Kind of lost in that mix is Martin Truex Jr. I think he's had the dominant car at New Hampshire for 3 straight years. They just haven't been able to get to victory lane. It used to be a track that Truex really struggled at. They couldn't find the package there, but Martin Truex Jr. certainly runs very well at this racetrack. I think there's going to be a couple of themes this weekend. I think number one, going to be very difficult to pass. You're going to hear about track position, strategy, qualifying up front is going to be critical. But I think the biggest thing that's not going to be talked about a lot going into the weekend, but will be a huge factor, is they're calling for 99 degrees on Saturday. That's going to be unbearable. The right side window is in these Cup cars now, so there's no air coming into the drivers. I think heat's going to be a big factor this weekend. And of course, PJ1. We're going to have it this week at New Hampshire. I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays, how it wears out, who reacts best to it throughout the race.
Well, a lot of moving parts and different ways to play that strategy. So who are you picking for New Hampshire?
I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick. I think when you look at who's been the best there the last few years, Kevin Harvick's been the guy to beat there. I think eventually things are going to go the right way for that race team. I really thought it was going to be Kentucky. They had speed in practice, didn't translate to the race, but Kevin Harvick's been the guy to beat at New Hampshire the last few years, so I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick.
All right, a strong pick in the number 4 camp. I'm going to take the number 19 and Martin Truex Jr. and Cole Pearn to get it done. You talked me into it.
Yeah, I think they're excellent. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, what they had in the old package doesn't work in this package, but they have run very well here, and this is one of his 9 home racetracks. I'm going to say that's a good pick to go with Truex.
All right, Marty, well, we are gearing up for what should be a wicked race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You can watch that Sunday at 3 p.m. coming to you on NBC SN. Marty, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys right back here next week before we head to Pocono.